Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest who positively impacts our community. Today, I welcome the founder of the nonprofit Empower Education, Henry Nielson Koch. He's a Newport Harbor High School graduate and will be attending UCLA in the fall. Empower Education is a passionate student-led initiative that's working to create a brighter future for underserved students around the world. Thank you, Henry, for being on Impact OC.
Happy to be here.
Henry, I understand your organization strives to improve the quality of education for children in Uganda and elsewhere while also expanding its mission globally. Please explain what gave you the idea to start the organization.
So it all mainly started with my college counselor, Shelley Howard, who had come to me after going on a trip to Uganda. And what she did was explain the situation after she had met a man named Yona in Uganda. And there were a lot of students that were learning, but they were learning outside under the shade of a tree. And when I heard of their situation, I mainly asked what I could do to help. And what we started to do was start Zoom meetings, and we started to spread the word by mouth, and we started sharing our word, and more people started to join.
So what is it that you actually do?
So at this point, I am just the president of the nonprofit, and I'm a mentor of the group. But at the start of the whole organization, I was the general president, so I would lead every meeting that we had every Sunday at 5 p.m. PST. But I mean, besides that, it was just coordinating with all the other groups. I was also the president of the STEM committee, which meant that I got to be in charge of some awesome kids that love STEM as much as I did. And I made science videos, and other kids did all sorts of other things regarding robotics and, whatever else you can imagine in STEM. But we did a lot of stuff.
So you build classrooms up there?
So I haven't gone and personally created any classrooms, from the ground up, but we had fundraised a lot of money in order to make the schools a possibility in Uganda. So yeah, we did create classrooms.
So what does the people in your group do specifically?
So every single person does something not entirely the same. So what we like to do is call it a passion project. So if you have a passion for something, then you're probably going to be a lot more excited to share it and be driven about it to do it, and make a positive impact. So there's just like the STEM committee, we have so many other committees that, our 50 active members that join our meetings, do something a little bit different. So a lot of the stuff that we do are make videos or booklets in relation to what we're passionate about. But each kid does something a little bit different than the other.
How does it get to Uganda?
So a couple different ways. At their school, we have fundraised, so they actually have internet there, so they can stream the videos from YouTube when we upload them. But also, Shelley Howard had, in the previous year, 1 year ago around this time, she had gone to Uganda personally and brought 5 suitcases with her that had all sorts of stuff that we had fundraised to bring over, like sports equipment, and a lot of the stuff they also purchased there to help their local economy.
So you teaching students in Uganda?
That is correct.
Elaborate.
So using the curriculum that they already have, it sometimes needs a little bit of supplementation because a lot of the stuff is old curriculum, and what we like to do is use some of the stuff that we've learned at our American high schools, and we either take that stuff and make booklets on top of that so they can get visual examples of what they're doing, or with me as an example, taking specific science principles and creating, labs or science experiments, and then on video I demonstrate those so that they can perform them there for themselves.
So what ages are we talking about?
So most of these kids are around the elementary school age. So I'm not 100% sure what years those are, but pretty a lot
elementary
younger.
School age.
Yeah.
So are you seeing them learning your material?
Yeah, so I've actually gotten to see some videos from Yona, and he sends some stuff over WhatsApp a lot of the time. and I've gotten to see the videos of like the teachers and the students watching the videos on like the television set that we fundraised to get them. So that's been really cool, just getting to see them learn the stuff that we've created.
What language do they speak?
So they do speak English there. So it's just that a lot of them are elementary school students, and a lot of the stuff that we're striving to make is like somewhat high level for them to be learning. So we kind of had to cut back on the language a little bit just to not be too advanced, but it's all English that they got going on over there.
So explain the volunteers that help.
Like the volunteers are actually from all across the nation that we have. We have kids in New York and, all in Texas and California, pretty much all across. And, they do all of their own individual things, but we all come together for our Sunday meetings, and we, do announcements, and then we break out into our little breakout rooms where we're able to further discuss in our, smaller groups to make things more productive and get a lot of things done.
So it's your organization, but it's become nationwide.
Yeah, you could say that.
And you have the different committees that work on different aspects to help those children in Uganda.
Yeah.
Wow. And what kind of reaction do you notice on the faces of those kids?
So a lot of the stuff that we've given them, they are super excited to be receiving. And it's been just super awesome. We have a lot of pictures on our website, empowereducation.world, that you can check out if you want to see. We also have an Instagram that you could check out too, all under the same handle. And their reactions are just priceless. It's so awesome to see what, the impact of the stuff that we're able to fundraise, especially the sports equipment that they have, because volleyball and soccer are really big sports there. So when we got them, 2 soccer goals and a bunch of soccer balls, they were super happy to all get them. And on the day that Shelly had brought them all the stuff and got everything set up, they played like a school-wide soccer game. And it was just so awesome to see all the stuff that they're able to use.
Now, the curriculum that you're creating, does it go through any educators?
Not exactly. It's mainly based off of the curriculum that they're already learning. So we're not exactly creating anything new per se. We're just mainly supplementing from what we've learned. Yeah.
So how does it make you feel knowing what you're doing?
I mean, it's really awesome, just especially being able to see like the impact that we make. I mean, it makes me feel really good as a person knowing that I'm able to be, as helpful as I am. But yeah, that's a great feeling.
How many children have you impacted?
I'm not 100% sure on an exact number, but each classroom that we've made holds about 200 kids, and we've made 3 classrooms, I believe. So at least like 600 kids, probably about.
Do any of your volunteers get a chance to actually interact with those kids?
So it's actually interesting you asked that. So we've been working on trying to do like live Zoom sessions to where some kids are actually able to be, taught by some of our kids that are involved in the program. We're still working on that. But so far, none of the kids have really gone to Uganda personally, but that is a thing we're looking into to be able to get, a closer interaction with some of these kids.
Well, you started the organization when you were in high school, and now you're going to UCLA. So how's that going to work? Are the Newport Harbor students going to be involved with it still?
So, as far as I know, I'm the only Newport Harbor student to be in the program.
Okay.
But yes, because everything's all on Zoom, it's really easy to do from everywhere. And that's really how we've been able to expand all across the nation. And it's just, it's so easy. You just log onto the Zoom meeting, and it's a couple hours of work outside of the Zoom meetings. But it's just a week, an hour long a week that you join the Zoom meeting, and you stay productive, you get some stuff done. And then if you have time, you put some time in outside the meetings. That's all it takes.
What are some of the projects you've been involved with?
So, besides starting the nonprofit, which has been it took a little while to get all sorted, but just making the science videos in particular, I was doing that before I even started the nonprofit. And that was just one thing that I was able to implement through, I was just like, oh, I'm already making these videos, right? Might as well, implement them in this project. So, just making science YouTube videos has been really awesome just to be able to do and, explore my passion as I keep on learning.
When you talk about science specifically, what kinds of science projects did you do for them?
So a lot of the stuff is like basic biology or chemistry topics that we look into, but a lot of the stuff is just whatever I find to be interesting, and that's kind of what I make the videos on for the most part. But then I've also made some specifically tailored to their curriculum. So just like videos on taxonomy or, just general acid-base reactions or something like that.
Is their curriculum similar to that in California?
At its most basic level, you could say so. It's just that a lot of it doesn't have a lot of specificity into what you're looking at in any specific topic. So it's mainly diving a little deeper into what they might want to be learning, or, like just showing examples as to supplement what they're already learning.
Can you kind of run us through what it's like to start a project and then to see it work out with the students there?
Yeah, so like one project that the STEM group did is we did like a little toiletries project where we just as a group individually like got together each meeting, and a lot of it's brainstorming and having like specific and measurable goals. That's a big thing that we like to stick to in our group, and that's really how we get our goals, seen through. So, like one thing with the toiletries project that we did is, we set a specific and measurable goal, like we're all going to get this, slideshow done by this time, and then we're going to send it to Shelly by this time, and then we're going to get it all uploaded by this time. And it's just kind of cool to be able to see everything, move like clockwork and get everything done the way we planned.
And I take it your videos are being shown over and over. It's one thing that they get to have, and
Yeah,
the instructors get to share a lot with the different grades as they move along.
Yeah, definitely.
So ultimately, you're going to go to UCLA. Are you going to continue this when you go to UCLA?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to film videos, science videos in particular, while in the dorms, but I'm still going to strive to make as much content as I can while I continue to go through the project. But as far as the Zoom meetings goes, I'm definitely going to join pretty much everyone that I can. And at this point, as a mentor in the project, it's more of a hands-off kind of role. Like, I mainly join the meetings and I help a lot of the new students that join in, and I help them, understand, what it is in the project that we're doing. And I also help a lot of the students that are starting chapters at their own school, which is kind of what we've called like their own school clubs for Empower Education. So far we have, I think, 2 that are starting in a couple schools across California next year. And that's going to be really cool to get a lot more students involved in the program and keep them joining the meetings consistently, because that's kind of a problem that we've encountered over the years. Just that, during the summer, we normally get more kids because they're less busy with school and whatnot. But it's just kind of interesting to be able to get things going with that.
What does it take to start an organization like this and to get it going?
I think it takes a lot of motivation, definitely.
Sure, but what did you have to physically do to make it happen?
I mean, I got pretty lucky with just like word of mouth, and I'm okay at being a salesperson and just kind of like explaining what we do. Like, this is a great project. It might also help you with some college stuff. So I think it's a really good idea if you were to join the project. So that's kind of the gist of what I told a lot of kids, and the kids that I told other kids. So it was just easy to spread by word of mouth to get the stuff going.
And are you in touch with the educators in Uganda to help present your information?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And what do they say about what you're presenting?
So for the most part, they really love the stuff that we've given them, and it's really helpful. So for the most part, the scores of the students that have been taking the national exams have improved like dramatically since we've given them the supplemental materials. So all the teachers are like super overjoyed that they have like this extra stuff to be able to do, and especially like just more related to the science stuff, like getting them the materials to perform the science experiments there in the first place, or getting them like more physical books, like the booklets that we provide and print there. So it's like having all this tangible stuff is super important for learning, especially at such a young age. So everyone's been really happy.
Now, do we know about what some of the kids may be inspired to do when they grow up thanks to your organization?
I mean, I would hope that all the kids are really excited about science after seeing my videos, but I honestly haven't heard anything in particular about what the students want to do in the future, but it definitely gives them a lot more opportunities based on, a lot of the stuff that we're adding to what they're doing. And I mean, at least from what I've heard, because I also volunteer at a local Boys and Girls Club, and a lot of the kids that are about the same age that watch my videos are all super excited. They're like, I want to be a scientist now. So it's just like hearing that, it's pretty awesome. So for the most part, I mean, I'd hope they want to go into science.
What is in some of your videos?
So I make videos of all sorts. A lot of it's just whatever interests me at the time.
Give us some examples.
So the last video I made was on triboluminescence, which is the scientific property of like creating light whenever material is like changed or something like that. So like, you know, those lifesaver mints, like when you chew down on them or whatever, and they make a little blue spark in your mouth. So like, that's an example of triboluminescence. So that's like one example of just like a fun topic that I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I wonder if other people might be interested in it. So that's the sort of stuff that I make, but you know, that's mainly outside of that. But then I also do just like random experiments that I just think are fun. So like, I'll make like baking soda and vinegar bottle rockets, or I'll do like some fun pH experiments where you like blend up red cabbage in some water and it works as like a natural acid base indicator. So it's just a lot of the classic experiments that you might see in a classroom, and I try those out on video.
And some of the people who are assisting you with your projects, what are their demographics here in Orange County?
I mean, assisting in the video is mainly like me, myself, and I. Like my dad helps me record the videos.
But I mean, you must have other people who are involved with the organization and they do things.
Yeah.
So you have students, other students. What are their interests?
So as far as their interests go, I mean, I'm mainly involved with the STEM committee, so I don't know too much about the other ones, but I mean, we have a VAPA community, so like visual and performing arts. We have a specific like medical committee that I think the most students are in the medical committee. Just because there's a lot of interest in that and sharing, you know, whatever medicine with the kids, so they can be, if that's a future career choice that they want, then that's more information for them to learn about. But we also have like an around the world committee where it's just like sharing cultures from around the world with the children of Uganda, which is, in my opinion, that's really cool. Like I would have never thought to do that, but it's just this one student that has a lot of different backgrounds and thought it would be a good idea to do that. So there's all sorts of stuff. Like if you're interested in pretty much anything, there's a place for you in Power Education.
What impresses you about their culture?
Well, I haven't learned too much about their culture. I would love to learn more, but I do love how much they love sports and how involved that is in their community, and how like dedicated they are to learning, even in like an underprivileged community. Like it's super awesome to see all the kids that want to go to school and want to learn every day. So honestly, I think that's a value that a lot of American students could actually learn. So that's pretty cool to see.
Now you're going to go to UCLA. Share with us what you're going to study.
So I plan on studying biology at UCLA, and that's with the idea of going on the pre-med track to study, become a radiologist eventually. But there's a lot more specifics in the biology major that I do not yet know about, but I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of biology stuff, a lot of chemistry stuff, and statistics and all that sort of stuff.
But in the midst of all this, you're still mentoring other people to get involved with your organization to keep the interest high in Uganda.
Yeah, so I mean, it's honestly not too hard now that we have so many people involved with the group. And I would like to say that our Instagram has also inspired a lot of people. Maybe it's inspired one or two just that have stumbled across the account. But it's just mainly when a lot of people see what we do, they think it's really cool and are really excited to join. So I'm really thankful that I have like an organization that is doing something super awesome and super inspiring for other people to see. But yeah, it's pretty easy to get involved.
Well, and you probably inspire other people to start other kinds of organizations.
Yeah, I would sure hope so.
So with that said, what can you say in terms of how it's evolving? How do you get the work done to do that? Is it a lot of work to start an organization?
I mean, at the beginning, it definitely is more work per person. And it's just, you know, more hands make easier work in a sense.
What do you have to do to make it happen?
So specifically, what I did to get the organization started was, first, I mean, it was just me and this other girl at the start. And on this Zoom meeting, we connected with the man on our ground, Yona, in Uganda. And he helped us understand exactly what it is that they needed in Uganda. And once we had like a specific plan set out in any sense of what we needed to accomplish, it was then a lot easier to share with other people what needed to be done. Because, I mean, there's probably a lot of confusion when you see this, you know, very small group at the beginning of our group, right? Where it's like, oh, we're helping a school in Uganda. How are you helping the school in Uganda? What are you doing to help the school in Uganda? And once you have specifics laid out, it makes it a lot easier for people to understand, like, oh, hey, it's not super hard to get involved, and it maybe is just making some booklets or making some videos, and you're able to make a really big impact.
But there's classrooms that were built thanks to your organization.
Yeah. So we
were you
were
able to get the funding for that?
a lot of the funding, I mean, it's still by word of mouth for the most part, and it's thanks to most of the families in our group that were able to get a lot of the donations. But I mean, a lot of students have held like bake sales, or like there was one student inside of my STEM group who was really passionate about 3D printing. And so he 3D printed a bunch of toys and then sold those around his local community and at his high school. And he was able to fundraise quite a bit of money doing that. So it's, once again, all about that passion and what you're able to do with it. And that's kind of the big thing that we like to say. So if you want to fundraise for something, I mean, you could go ask your grandma, right? But you could also, like, if you're really passionate about drawing or something like that, then maybe you could go and put on a bulletin board, hey, I could draw some stuff. And then you could use your passion to fundraise.
Are you in touch with any of the students that you've taught?
So that's another thing that we're actually looking into. We're looking into a pen pal system with a lot of the students, which I think would be super awesome to do and would also help their English skills a lot just because, they're learning just like we are. But that I'm definitely looking forward to doing that because I used to do pen pal stuff with some students in China. So it's always super fun to, write to people across the world.
And so clearly the students are learning a lot more than they would if they didn't have this program.
Yeah, I would say so.
And you learn when you teach.
Definitely. 100%. There's so much stuff that I've been able to learn from making these science videos that I otherwise would have no idea about. And that's what I think so awesome about like being involved in these sort of projects is that not only can you like learn more about yourself, but you can learn more about like all these random specific things. And I think that's so awesome just to be able to do.
And the fact that you got an audience and making an impact with that audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was the most unusual thing that you learned by teaching?
So there was one video I made quite a while ago about muscle memory, and I thought that was really interesting. And the only reason I made it was because when I was looking up muscle memory, I realized that there are two different definitions for muscle memory. There's one in the sense of like your muscles, but then also in the sense of your brain. So there's kind of like a common misconception with your muscles when it's like some people like maybe lose muscle mass when they stop exercising for a certain amount of time. But then because of specific cells in your muscle fibers, you're able to like regain muscle in a significantly shorter amount of time. And that's commonly called muscle memory, which it's not really. The muscle memory is like the specific connection in your brain when you're able to, repeat motions or like because I play piano, that was just like one example that I was able to use. Like I consider myself like a human jukebox kind of where I just memorize a song and then I forever remember the song, and that's all through muscle memory.
So how were you able to present that in a video?
So a lot of the stuff that I do is just kind of scripting it out and then I start talking about it. But I always try to use like real world examples, just like myself playing the piano or wow, I made this video quite a while ago, so I don't remember too many of the specifics.
Do you
but
put music to it and make it, visual?
Yeah. So I go through and I like edit the whole thing. So I add like background music and all sorts of visual effects, and I try to make it as funny as I can in the video just to keep the kids entertained for the most part. Because I mean that's a majority of my audience, like just the people that are watching the videos on YouTube in the first place, on top of the students in Uganda that are learning. So and I mean, with the attention span of people nowadays, it's kind of hard to keep them, watching a video that's longer than 10 minutes anyway. So you really just got to make it as if you're making it for a really young kid that might be really excited to watch something. So you got to make it, really bright, visual, got to have all sorts of effects going on and, throw in some funny bits across the way.
So the videos are about 10 minutes long.
Yeah, about that. I mean, some I have are a little bit shorter, especially when I've created like YouTube shorts in the past, which have like proved to be like the more successful videos that I've made on YouTube for the most part. But yeah, somewhere between like 5 and 10 minutes, I would say is probably about the average of the videos.
Now, do people have to be students in order to be part of your organization, or can the public help?
So for the most part, the students that are helping with our organization are middle or high school aged. Now, if you're older than that, we're kind of looking into what we can do in the future just because, like, now that I've graduated high school and I still definitely want to be a part of the program, there isn't exactly like a clear fit for me in the program anymore, but it doesn't make sense not to have more people help, right? So we're still looking into what else we can do as far as that goes, maybe starting an extra part of the group where we can help with that. But for the most part, it is just middle and high schoolers.
Well, how can people get in touch with your organization?
So we have a website, empowereducation.world, that you could go check out. And I believe the top link on the top of the website is actually the Zoom meeting. So you can kind of just join the Zoom meeting and get involved that way. There's no email you have to send. It's super easy. You just join the meeting and we'll get you sorted.
Thank you, the founder of the nonprofit Empowered Education, Henry Nielson Koch, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.